Hey everybody, welcome to InPsight Radio. I am your host, Danielle Egnew, and you are a fly on the wall to everywhere. Happy January. We are squarely into 2024. We've launched out. Here we are. This is super exciting. You know, the thing that I'm so excited about with 2024 is, of course, it is the year of recreation and growth. So we're going to be seeing a lot of growth patterns for people, and we're seeing it right now. I mean, we're kind of seeing it, I would say, with the whole country right now. I have a lot of clients, and I have through all of January. I've had a lot of clients that have been calling up, just getting some bearings about where they're headed and what the new year is going to hold for them. And honestly, you know, I think that that's a fair question, because we're going to have a year unlike any other year. I mean, this is literally going to be a fairly extraordinary and interesting year. And I am super excited about this year. In fact, I actually crossed a huge bucket list item off of my life. Many of you, and some of you don't know this, but many of you know that for years I've been wanting to open a real life Hogwarts. And it's very interesting because to do that, you have to be able to give access to people all over the world to the real life Hogwarts. So as here we are, belly flopping into the year of recreation and growth, right? So I was able to finally launch my Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts globally online. And you guys, I am so excited about this. And talk about recreation. I mean, I've recreated this idea 255,000 times. And literally, you guys, it has been 8 years in the planning and making, and there's a lot of legal that goes in, just stuff, blah, 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 right? However, the only important thing you need to know about is it's live, you guys. The Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts is live online, and you can go to rmaea.com and check out all of our classes. And we are adding instructors all the time. Right now, it's just myself. It's Melissa Siana, who I've had on the show a lot for the last many years. She's teaching herbalism and energy therapy basics. We have the fantastic Rachel Seifert, and she is a licensed therapist, and she is a tonal healer and a million other things. She does biofield tuning and works with crystals, and she's just fabulous. So she's on there teaching all kinds of classes about practical divination and healing with crystals. And Melissa's got another class coming up too. Not only is she teaching energy therapy basics, but she's teaching a class all about plants that you can find in your own yard, people's yard next to you, whatever, that can be used for incredible healing purposes, you guys. There's so much at our fingertips that we don't know about. And we have about 3 other instructors that aren't quite on the website yet. One of them is on the website that are going to be teaching body wellness, cellular wellness, mindset, all kinds of other things. I am teaching in this next upcoming section. Actually, my classes start March 6th. I'm teaching working with your empathic gift, because we have so many empaths right now who are just buried underneath what this world feels like, and it's been a little bit much for a lot of people. And you guys have been asking for this class for good Lord, 7 years, and I finally got it together enough to be able to put together a class series. So the reason that I'm so excited about the Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts, you guys, is because there is so much knowledge that can be imparted to not only practitioners, people who've already gone out there and got their certifications, and they're out there practicing tonal healing or Reiki or any kind of healing touch. Not only can that continuing education be provided for them, but you guys, sometimes just we regular Janes and Joes and whomever and Robins just want to find out more information about what we can do with ourselves personally. And so the Academy is here for professionals. It's here for folks who just want to educate themselves. And we do offer certificates of completion for all of our classes for those who are interested in having a certificate. Some people don't care. They just want to take the class. But the classes are going to be 1 day a week, you guys. And right now they're in the evenings, but we've got different practitioners who will have them whenever. Like, for instance, mine are on a Wednesday starting March 6th at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and they'll be live for 1 hour. So each class is 1 day a week for 1 hour, and it's on Zoom. So Zoom records it and then sticks up a wonderful recording in its archive. So maybe your kid has a birthday party that night, or you got to be somewhere. Just maybe you just don't freaking feel like it. Whatever. You can go to the Zoom link and you can watch the class for that week. So I have a lot of people who aren't able to make my class time, but they're going to go ahead and watch the archives of the class. And, I've got 25 slots for everybody and 25 slots for each practitioner. And I'm asking the practitioners to keep their student load down lower so that we can actually, you guys, so we can be one-on-one with you and it can be a smaller classroom. So the one thing that I have had questions about this, the one thing that's different about Remap than, say, my global forums that you guys can purchase a replay of, is that the class periods are recorded, right? So you can go back and watch them later. But unlike the global forums, they're not going to be available outside of the class time for purchase. So in other words, those archives, basically, once the class is over after that month, actually we give everybody 5 weeks to catch up on the 4-week class, then, those are no longer available. So pretty much, if you want to be in the class, if you want to download them for your own use or whatever, that's fine. But these classes are not going to be something that folks can just go ahead and purchase and watch. I plan on doing something like that later, but the reason we're not doing it that way, you guys, is I'm really, really encouraging everybody to participate. Because, for instance, in my class that I've got going on, which is the empathic gift class, we're going to do some group exercises. And I want you guys to be able to add your 2 cents live with the rest of the class, you guys, because a lot of times people learn from your experiences, okay? And I've had some people say, look, I don't want to participate. I don't want people seeing me raise my hand. I just want to watch the class. That's fine too, man. However, this is honestly a collective endeavor that's meant for you to also maybe make some new pals that are all over the world. I mean, people that you can stay in touch with that also may, like in my case, that may also struggle with their empathic gift. Or maybe you're not really struggling with it, but man, lately you're like, geez, my anxiety and depression is off the hook as we keep going from war to war and have crazy climate things blowing up and whatever. Sometimes it's nice just to make some friends that are like-hearted, So that's kind of a long ramble to say that in the year of recreation and growth, I have finally launched the Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts. So go check it out, you guys. You can go to rmaea.com. You can read about the instructors. You can read about the classes. If you click on enroll in the class, it'll tell you all the information about the class. And for 4 classes, you guys, for 4 hours, it's only $288. And so I think that's like $72 a class or something like that. And every class, regardless of instructor, is the same amount of money. If you go to the University of Arizona, they're not going to charge you more for certain credits if one teacher is teaching or another one is. So we tried to make it as affordable for everybody as possible. And for those that are interested in the certificates at the end, after the end of each class, you can just answer a few questions. They're not mind-bending. It's just showing that you attended, right? And if you attend all 4 classes, you can get a certificate of completion in that course. So for some folks, like I said, who are pursuing continuing education, that's super cool. Some people don't care about the certificate. They're like, whatever. I just want to learn how to deal with my empathic gift without chewing off my own tongue. That's my goal. It's my goal. So I'm really proud to announce that, you guys, and please check out the website. It's something that I've been working on for such a long time, and I'm very proud to offer some really hard to get to classes. Sometimes it's really weird to try to find a class that'll teach you how to work with your empathic gift without having to pay like $4,000 and spending an intensive weekend in Bahrain or something strange. So anyway, check us out, guys. It is part of the year of recreation and growth. So what are you doing this year? What are you going to do to recreate yourself and to grow, man? What are you doing? Oh, I've got so much going on, guys, and I hope that you do too. And these angels are talking today about how much transition we have in our world right now. And there's a ton of it. There's a ton of it, you guys. I mean, we haven't even started to see some of our more exaggerated news cycles yet, but we will. Coming up here, by the time we hit February and March, coming up here, we're going to be seeing some pretty intense news cycles, really surprising news cycles. It's the time frame of the feminine, you guys. So we're going to be seeing a lot of women coming forward in the news cycles, really in the first part of this year, but mostly the first 3 months of this year. And it's not, gentlemen, like we're leaving you in the dust or anything. It's just that we are putting a lot of focus on the feminine and the feminine power coming up, because it's about recreating what you're going to do for yourself. And fellas, this is also about bringing your feminine energy forward to use it in the recreation process, because women are wired to grow life, right? So fellas, inside of you have masculine and feminine chi. And you can go in there in your feminine chi and you can use that to grow things. You can grow. It's sort of like the energetic womb for cool stuff that you want to grow. And then you can throw all that masculine chi behind it, and that yang energy, and just push it out in the world. So this is a great time frame for our fellas too. It's not just about women coming forward. It's about fellas coming forward too. And we're going to be seeing some chaos coming up, guys. And, one of the things that we really need to deal with is, how do we differentiate between growth and chaos? And that's a really big issue for a lot of people right now. One of the big delineators in my mind is that chaos is just busyness or white noise for the sake of busyness and white noise. And growth, there might be some little kind of scuffles for a second while it's kind of going crazy, but then it relaxes. And then we can get out there and we can just kind of say, okay, here I am. The chaos was purposeful. Chaos in and of itself is not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, it's a physics issue, and it's really part of the universe. So that it's not like dire or dreadful or anything. We just have to be able to delineate between the chaos and the productive use of putting all of that frenetic energy forward. So again, as we go into the next 3 months, we're going to see the political landscape is just going to be ridiculous. Especially for my conservative friends. God bless you guys. Your conservative political landscape is going to get crazy. With people dropping out. And I think actually already, if I'm not mistaken, Ron DeSantis has already dropped out of the race. And so I think the only person who's left in with Trump anymore is Nikki Haley. And, Trump's just steamrolling along. And Biden's just going to do what he does all the way through the democratic process, whatever. It's kind of unremarkable on the Democratic side. But guys, watch our conservatives, because there is such a grappling for power. And it's interesting that, God bless Donald Trump, this poor guy, he's going to get to the other side. We're all going to get to the other side. We're all going to be standing around the big party barge, and it's going to be this beach cabana, and we're all going to swim up to the bar in the middle, and there's going to be old Donald Trump, and we're going to say to him, dude, what was your deal, man, in life? You were just so incendiary and whatever. And he's going to laugh, and he's probably going to be the nicest guy you ever met on the other side. He's going to be like, I know. Can you even believe I had to keep that thing up my entire life? My God, that was exhausting. Lord. So on the other side, we'll probably all have a beer with Donald Trump and laugh and say, dude, that was quite a performance. But right now, he is going to be playing out to the hilt his role. And he's going to be doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down with all kinds of fascinating fiction and misinformation, disinformation. Sometimes it's misinformation, because disinformation means you're doing it on purpose. And as I look forward to the future here, and I look at former President Trump's mental capacity, guys, he's an older gentleman now. What is he, 76, 77 years old, something like that? And he's starting to slip a cog now and again. And he did not really have healthy cogs to begin with. God bless him. Thinks he does. That's the best part about Trump, is he's for sure he's all that and a bag of macaroni. But as he goes along, we saw this month, we saw some gaffes with him. He was calling Nikki Haley Nancy Pelosi. It was backwards. He was calling Nancy Pelosi Nikki Haley, but he was referring to Nikki Haley. So that's where I get all twisted on that. But I mean, he did it several times, saying Nikki Haley, Nikki Haley, Nikki Haley. We offered to give her, National Guard troops, and she didn't want it, and blah, blah. He was talking about Nancy Pelosi, but he kept saying Nikki Haley. And he's had a couple of, towards the end of this month, he's had a couple of more hiccups, gaffy things. His base doesn't care, man. He could run over a basket of newborn babies with a tractor, and his base would be like, it's okay. Jesus told him to run those babies over because they were possessed. And they were going to go into this world and do terrible things. They were going to have no gender, and they were going to have a third eye and grow a tail and maybe, I don't know, smell like rotten bacon. I'm sure that Jesus had a plan for Trump to run all those babies over, those evil, terrible babies from hell. Yeah, so you guys don't get all weirded out if Trump's hardcores are still after him. It's a very interesting thing. But it's not even really about Donald Trump, you guys. I'm using him as an example because he's doing a stellar job at staying in karmic character here. I mean, this guy, you guys, I do have just a little bit of respect here for his spirit's ability to refuse to grow or evolve. Do you guys have any idea how hard that is? That's really super hard, you guys. It's really hard. And the thing that I think is interesting about that is, he's not a bad guy. He's just lived in this weird bubble that's enabled him to believe that the emperor's new clothes are actually there. It's a form of delusion. It's a form of mental illness, really, if you think about it. But that's where he's at. And what I think is so fascinating is what we're going to see is him commit grievous acts verbally, guys. And it's this, again, the podcast isn't about Trump. It's about recreation and growth and what we're doing and how his karmic character plays into a bigger plot. Okay? Because he's got all these followers. And you guys, I mean, I don't know if you've actually seen the And God Made Trump video. Honest to God, if the Biden campaign did And God Made Biden, I would be laughing my ass off as much as I am right now about this God Made Trump thing. It's just absurd. And it's this whole narrative of, like on the first day God created light kind of thing, but it's like God created Trump. And Trump came in and helped the world, and he worked very hard and worshiped on Sunday and blah. It is such a fan fiction piece about this guy. But the point is that as we go into this time frame that's 100% feminine and the recreation and growth time frame, the feminine time frame is all about creation, you guys. Like I said, women grow babies, right? Whether you want one or not, you're equipped to do it, generally speaking. So what's very interesting here is that you can grow anything in the feminine petri dish, you guys. Not just projects. Not just Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts. Shameless plug. Not just, whatever. You can grow anything. And so you've got all these folks who genuinely believe that Donald Trump is not the person that he is. They genuinely believe that he is this good-natured, good-hearted thing because in their minds, that's who they have created him to be. It is the year of recreation and growth. Now, this is where it gets awkward because I can create anything I want, right? But what happens when I'm doing all this recreation and I'm not growing? What happens there? So I can create something, But it's kind of doing what it does. It's morphing in the womb of my energy field. But if I don't allow it to grow, it can't be birthed out. Okay? It's just going to be like cells dividing forever in my idea womb, basically. And what I think is interesting about the folks who put Trump in such high regard, and literally a lot of them, you guys, see him as God appointed at this point. And that's really what a lot of this base is pushing, is that he's appointed by God. He's the last great patriot, just because he was loudmouthed and he was looking out after his own interests. But there is no way that people who really are his fans believe that. Because, guys, people need to create someone who really cares about them, because they don't really care about them. People need to create a savior, because a lot of our American Christian culture is based on having a savior that tells you what to do. It tells you how to wipe your butt. It tells you how to walk. It tells you how to talk. And Jesus ain't come back yet. So, now we got Trump, right? And because people need to create this for themselves. So they have a purpose. They struggle sometimes to have a purpose inside of them. And you guys, I'm not talking about just the folks who are like, oh, I'm going to hold my nose and vote for Trump because I'm a Republican, whatever. I'm talking about the folks who have really helped create this mythology of Donald Trump. They are going into the creation aspect, but are they growing? I don't know. I can't make that assessment. Maybe they freaking are growing. I don't know. But what's so crazy about this is that what I see energetically here is if we are creating something and we don't allow it to grow and deliver it into the world, you've just got this, like, think of yourself being eternally pregnant and you're just growing and growing and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And pretty soon you just pop like Mr. Creosote on Monty Python. You just pop and blow up all over the cleaning lady who's cleaning up the throw up. I mean, you just, there you go. So when I'm looking at energetically with former President Donald Trump and this particular group of people who needed to create for themselves a savior, they needed to create for themselves, outside of themselves, somebody better than themselves, someone who cares about them because they don't feel like anybody does. So they hung it on old Donald Trump. They hung it on a 77-year-old guy whose health is crap, you guys. And, everybody's like, oh, he's going to win 2024. And all these, my lefty friends, they're wringing their hands like a bunch of wackos. They're like, oh my God, what if Trump wins? I'm like, you guys, that's if he makes it to 2024. You should see how septic that guy is on the inside. This is a human being, you guys, who is so full of pharmaceuticals and so full of Big Macs that his color is gray. He is gray if he doesn't get his spray tan, which is one of the reasons he has a spray tan. I mean, God bless him. And I mean that because can you imagine being that miserable in your life? Your health is such crap. He has a lot of intestinal issues. And it is well known that people around him, apparently he smells like poo, like literally, because he has some issues. And people talk about him wearing a diaper and all these different things. And when I look, I don't know about a diaper, but I do see that he does have a lot of health problems. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does have problems that are angled towards the bowel system. And also, guys, our root chakra is right where our low intestines are and our business is. And the root chakra determines who we are in the world, right? And right now, the Supreme Court's getting ready to chew on whether or not Trump can be taken off the ballot in certain states. And they're going to have to walk really carefully with this one. Because if they decide to overrule the states about this, then that is a Supreme Court overreach and people are going to flip out. And I think they know that. And I think they realize that if they don't let individual states make the call for whether or not Trump is on the ballot or not, they already reversed Roe versus Wade. That's really going to be the rioting point for people. And the justices aren't completely stupid. The other thing is a significant amount of them were shoved through by the Republican Party. Trump appointed more justices, than any other president in history. And Amy Coney Barrett was shoved through, even though there were not the Democrats. The Democrats just didn't attend because they're like, you guys were rushing this. And even though they weren't there to vote on her, which should throw out the whole process, the Republican majority just shoved it through anyway and swore her in. I mean, technically speaking, you guys, Amy Coney Barrett under another presidential administration could just get tossed right out. And somebody could say, look, I'm sorry, but we're going to go back and look at due process. You didn't actually go through the proper channels to become a justice. And sorry. So there's a lot that's going on here. And former President Trump thinks that he's going to have these votes in the Supreme Court. But I'll tell you what's not going to happen. People are not stupid, and these justices are not stupid. And they might have dinked with Roe versus Wade by giving it back to the states. But what they're not going, that's giving states power. What they're not going to do is decide that the states don't have power for something, that they have it instead of the states have it. Take the power away from the states. And if they end up doing that, because constitutionally there's no basis to that, I've only got 1 out of 7 timelines where they do that. And that's just pure mayhem, and the whole Supreme Court gets trashed, and it's just, I mean, like physically, like people storm it and paint it, and it's pretty terrible. However, that's only 1 out of 7 timelines, so I don't think it really bears talking about besides a mention. But the point here, you guys, is recreation, and growth. And that which is not being recreated or growing is going to just pop. So you got Trump and you got his hardcore, fans, his hardcore followers. And he's not really growing, you guys. I mean, he's creating and creating and creating and creating and creating, but he's not growing. And the Supreme Court going backwards is just maintaining, but it's not helping the country grow. So, do you see what I'm getting at here? So basically, we're going to have a really wild 2024 as, Trump is, his power, his influence, his God, his belly, probably. The guy is so distended. You should see his liver and his kidneys, you guys. They are a shit show. I mean, the interior of this guy's body, his pulmonary system is awful. He has put on so much weight, and he's eating such crappy food, and he's on so many medications that cancel out so many other medications that it's hard for him to keep his story straight at this point. So just imagine him like an Oompa Loompa. No, you know what it reminds me of, you guys? And I do feel bad for the guy. I know. Everybody's like, how can you do that? He's a terrible person. I feel bad for the guy, you guys, because he's got to ride this karmic character out to the very end. He doesn't change his tune. This is exactly who he's going to be all the way out. And he still, by the way, is a huge flight risk, because when the Supreme Court comes out and decides they don't want people rioting and lighting the whole building on fire, and they come out and they say, well, I'm sorry, Donald Trump, the states get to do what they want. So if they throw you off the ballot, tough crackers there, Mr. Orange. He's going to be really mad, and his people are going to be really mad, and he's going to be like, I'm so hurt that the people that I illegally put into the court didn't come bat for me, but those people also don't want folks stalking them and going after them, which is what they would be afraid of if they did something like that. I'm talking about the justices. So with this just bloating of power and influence, and, there's going to be this confluence of energies that poofs Trump out huge, like a big Macy's Day balloon in the parade, Think about Violet. Do you guys remember Violet from Willy Wonka? God, do you remember the Willy Wonka from the 70s? Hey, Gen Xers, you remember that? What the actual hell was that? That thing screwed me up as a kid. That was really scary. I mean, and the kids, they all ended up fine at the end. And the kid who got sucked up the chocolate pipe and was drowning, I was flipping out about that as a kid. And then Violet, who just kept getting huge and big and poofing up and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, turning blue. That's kind of going to be, I think that was Violet. Wasn't that Violet? I think that was Violet. Turning into a big blueberry. That's going to be Trump's power and his influence. But that doesn't mean he makes it all the way through this election cycle. Guys, his health is poor. He has very poor health. His mental health is failing. His ability to keep his lies straight are all over the place because when you're not well and you're on all this medication and you've been taking all that Adderall back in 2016 to get you going for your presidential campaign, I mean, the guy is he's losing it. So it'll be interesting to see if he makes it all the way through to 2024. I see tremendous health problems with him, and he's not growing. If he were to come out, and let me give you an idea of recreation and growth, okay, the energy. If he came out, and I don't see this anywhere in any of his timelines, and he said, I have something I need to say to America. You know what? I never wanted to be your president. I never wanted to do any of this stuff. I really thank you for your support. I think we should be a free market economy, but I really don't want to do this. This is not my thing. I'm sorry. He would still have people writing him in on the ballot, you guys, because it's now no longer about this 77-year-old, extremely distended, likely wearing an adult diaper with the medical conditions that I can see him having, with his pulmonary system as rotten as it is, with his diet that it is. I mean, this guy, you guys, he is running on smoke and mirrors and illusion here. And if he were to, God forbid, drop dead of a heart attack or something, his people would think that was fake news. They would still write him in, you guys. They would still write in a deceased ex-president because they wouldn't believe he really died. They would believe that that's some trick of the deep state to get them not to actually accept that Trump could be president. I mean, this is how deep people have created a mythology around this person. And at this point, it ain't got much to do with Trump. He's kind of spitting and popping and not really hanging in there very well. So if we are not growing in our year of recreation in 2024, and we're just recreating and recreating, but we're not putting out new energy, we're not putting out something into the timelines that will benefit us moving forward. If we're not doing any of this and we're just bloating up and growing and growing and growing, we're going to pop eventually. Okay. So just kind of as a sidebar here about the whole Trump phenom, I'm looking ahead and I'm watching everybody drop out. And I think Nikki Haley is going to hang in there as long as she possibly can. I think she's the last one standing, man. And again, I mean, I'm not necessarily personally a fan of Nikki Haley. However, she is a female and it's the time frame of the feminine. So it doesn't surprise me that the gal is still in there hanging on. And, now Trump's talking about his VP picks and he's kind of hinting towards Kristi Noem. And he's probably going to pick a female. But he's hinting towards Kristi Noem. He's hinting towards, oh, God, I think the guy who's the Speaker of the House now, that weirdo. But he's sort of kicking tires and whatever. But I really would encourage everybody, rather than wringing your hands over whether Donald Trump in his very ill format is going to be our president again, I would really encourage you to just get out and grow your own projects that you're really working on, that are working to be something beautiful in the world. Okay? Because Trump is going to be Trump, and his base, his hardcore base, is going to make him into whatever they want. It doesn't matter. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, there's kind of like 2024 is going to take off for the first half of the year. And from the January perspective, what I'm looking at here is it's really kind of a weird split of, I would say, people who are really stuck back in 2016 or stuck back in 1980, kind of at the same time. And there's going to be people who are just moving forward. And it's okay to reach back into your past for something to bring something new forward. That's why it's called recreation. I mean, you guys, look at the Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts. I'm serious. 8 years working on that format is what it took me to figure out how to bring instructors in from everywhere and how to make it cost effective for people to take the classes and cost effective for instructors to teach the classes and prepare the materials that they're emailing to their students each week. And I mean, it's a thing, right? And so you can take something from the past and you can recreate it going forward, that's a whole deal, guys. But just make sure in your effort to do that, that you're bringing something new that you've always wanted to birth to the table. And guys, it's going to take elbow grease. This is what separates chaos from chaotic particle movement that can be coagulated into and just drain through a funnel to create a cohesive stream. These are two different things, okay? There's chaos for chaos' sake, and there is a temporary dust cloud as there's a scuffle and we start into a particular trajectory. So, when we go into 2024 further, especially February, watch February, we're going to get into the middle of February. And by the time we get into the middle of February, there's more headlines about Donald Trump. There's more headlines about weird weather. There's going to be all kinds of things going on. And this is going to become our normal. So again, we're going to have two systems. We're going to have people who are recreating the new world that we want to go in towards. And we're going to have other people who are sitting there just myopically clinging onto any little piece of minutia that they possibly can and then bitching about it online. Because, come on, that's a lot. So don't let it get you crazy down if people are too overwhelmed by the rest of the world. So instead of dealing with themselves or what they're really overwhelmed about, what they're doing is they'll hyper focus on little tiny stuff that doesn't matter. And, kind of reminds me of like how everybody quit drinking Bud Light because they didn't like somebody on a can. That kind of hyper-focusing, that kind of stuff happens when you feel out of control in your life. So you have to take some big fat stand and make some kind of control or whatever. But I've been talking to a lot of people through this month of January who are struggling in who they're going to be this year. And I've also talked to a lot of people who are pretty much sort of ejecting their life out of the side hatch of the space station. They have had it. They're over it. They're not doing it anymore. And they are moving on. They literally are sick and tired of things. So what I kind of like about that is that there's nothing wrong with ejecting things out the side hatch, because that's at least, expelling growth, or it's making room for growth. You can recreate, you can clean your closets, so to speak, but eject that which does not serve you right now, because we're going to need room to grow new things. And, part of the rough portion of being me sometimes, I'm just going to be straight out with you here, is looking ahead and in the world and seeing the tremendously painfully awful, in my opinion, these awful paths people choose. And, I was talking about former President Trump here. He's just, again, he is going to win an Oscar on the other side for best karmic adherence to the villain. Or, if you're other folks who might believe he's a hero, best karmic adherence to being the hero. Just depends on how you look at him. However, he's going to win an award one of these days. But currently, he's just bumbling through life with people creating anything they want about him. So let me ask you this. What are you creating in your life that, okay, I'm going to back this up. I get this angel working with me here on how I say this. It is good to manifest. It is good to put our dreams and wishes out there. It is good to have a vision of what we want, right? You guys, come on. We have to kind of hang the little carrot out there and get kind of excited about what we're looking at in order to go forward. That's just the thing. However, in what you're putting out there, how much of what you are creating is based on something that you just wished was real, as opposed to what is real? Now, how can you, Israel? Hey, boy, we'll get into Israel in a minute, but that's not what I meant. How can we tell the difference between positive thinking, keeping our eye on the prize, manifestation, and delusion? Where we just, like these poor folks who are creating Donald Trump to be this thing they need that loves them and cares about them because they don't love and care about themselves, and to save them because Jesus hasn't come back yet. And what else are they going to do? Their GPS is broke morally, I guess. I don't know. But it's a whole thing. How can we tell the difference, you guys? And I would tell you how we can tell the difference. We can tell the difference because if you are creating something that you've held in the crosshairs of your own mind for a long time, you've held this in a space of understanding and manifestation, and you keep working on it, and you keep working on it, and you keep pushing it a little further along, and you're getting ready to the launch portion, and you're like, oh God, I'm really nervous about this. But you're even though it's not where you want it to be, you still have the capacity to continue to make it what you want. And you see, even if they are microscopic changes, you're seeing incremental changes. That's different than creating a reality for yourself that is not being met by any other players in the cast. That's a mental delusion at that point. And it really is a fine line. Trump manifested this presidency to the point where when he actually got elected, he was flipped out. Do you guys remember when he got elected in 2017? Oh my God, it was 2016 he got elected. And he was so freaked out. And they were interviewing him like, hey, are you ready to be the president? And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. Sure. And the whole time he's thinking, is this real? Is this really happening? What am I going to do? I'm going to have a spotlight on all my illegal stuff that I do. This is terrible. I mean, he's not a stupid guy. But what is the difference between you incrementally working towards something that you are recreating and just creating this illusion that you just continue to live in? Well, a big way to tell the difference is if you just keep telling yourself, oh my goodness, I'm going to own Microsoft someday. That's right. I'm going to own Microsoft someday. I am a Microsoft owner. I'm going to absolutely just manifest the dickens out of that. And in the meantime, you never talk to anybody. You never call anybody. Your day is pretty much spent binge watching physical on Apple TV. And you never move forward past your whole self. And you take no effort towards learning what even Microsoft is. You just think it looks cool because you like the 4 colors. I don't know. This is creating a reality that gets you through your day. But it's different than working towards creating and recreating. Because basically, as we make little improvements on something that we've been working on for a long time, as we make little improvements, that is recreating what we have in front of us. And then we recreate it to be a little more. And we recreate it to be a little more. And we keep going. And we keep going. As opposed to just spinning our wheels and absolutely dismissing all reality and claiming that we are a unicorn. That's a different story. And that's what's going on with Donald Trump's hardcore followers. That's what they're doing. He's the unicorn of the century, no matter what he does. So what I think is so fascinating here is recreation forces us to be brave. Okay? Creation doesn't really force us to be brave because creation is sort of an inward, it's an inward pursuit. If I'm creating, it could be an idea. It could be something in the kitchen. It could be part of a book. I'm writing on a book right now, you guys. It could be part of a book. I mean, you're creating. But you don't necessarily have to launch it in the world. Creation is enough. Creation feeds the spirit. Creation is a way to recycle karmic and cosmic energies through the quantum field, through your very self, so that you can add your bits and talents and wash it back out into the universe. And maybe you just create a painting that nobody ever sees. That's okay. That creation energy puts that beauty back out into the quantum field. Or maybe it's a really sad painting. So it takes all that sadness out of you and it releases it into the quantum field. Creation for the sake of creating is phenomenal. So I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying the act of recreating, it's working it over again and working it over again, or expanding it and expanding it and expanding it. And if we work through recreation, these angels have shown me unequivocally, you absolutely positively cannot get out of growth. because you're continuing to add and add and add. I mean, like think of a Mr. Potato Head in a womb. I'm going to recreate the Mr. Potato Head. I'm putting a nose and 2 eyeballs on it. Then I'm going to recreate it again. And I'm snapping on 2 arms and 2 legs. And pretty soon I got a whole Mr. Potato Head. That's recreation. So, what are you going to do for yourself as we get in? Because we're right at the end of January here. What are you going to do for yourself in February? What are you going to do in February when you go forward and you start to recreate? February is going to be an incredible month for creation. Oh my God. It is my birth month, you guys. On February 28th, I turn the big 5-5. I turn 55 on February 28th. And it has been a trip to realize I'm halfway through my life, maybe over halfway through my life, right? But you guys, I love being in my mid-50s. I mean, not to sound like the Molly Shannon character. I'm 50. I can kick. God, remember that character? I can stretch. Oh my God. So not to sound like her, but I love being in my mid-50s. I mean, there's a few things that aren't, super fun. Like you kind of have to get used to the Tabasco sprinkled on the toilet seat sort of hormonal rodeo. That's super. Kind of a real eye-opener, get you full attention. However, once you kind of work through some of that and you're kind of getting more into your groove, you guys, this is such a powerful time. And so it's a birth month thing. In a few days, we're going to hit February. And for me, celebrating my birth month is huge. So for me, my birth month is going to be all about definitely recreation. I'm working on a project pretty much all of February, and I have a few clients I'm seeing. Then I pick up everybody back in March, April, May, June, onwards, whatever. But you guys, it's going to be a pretty phenomenal month for me. It's going to be a big growth month. It's going to be exciting for me, February. And on March 2nd, okay, just outside of February, I've got a big dream come true happening for me personally on March 2nd that I'd love to share with you. And, my birthday this year falls on a Wednesday, which, okay, it's midweek. Well, my wife is probably going to take me out to dinner. We'll probably do something just mellow or whatever. My big birthday party, because we do have leap year this year. There is a February 29th this year. I'm actually born on the 28th of February. So we have an extra day. But my birthday party is going to be, well, it's not even a party, but my birthday celebration is going to be March 2nd. And on March 2nd, you guys, if any of you can happen to get to Billings, Montana, and you could stay somewhere downtown, like the Northern Hotel or the Come On In, which is hilarious. The Come On In has like a whole indoor theme of indoor water features and hot tubs. It's like you walk into this tropical garden. It's so weird. But anyway, if you're here in Billings, Montana on March 2nd, I really, really want to invite you to my birthday celebration at the Roadside Event Center. It's this cool event center out in Huntley, which is like 7 miles east of Billings. From 7 to 9 p.m. because my band, y'all remember Pope Jane? We have a reunion show, guys. A reunion show. Me, Kristen, and Holly, the original Pope Jane members. Well, the original Pope Jane members also included the late Rita Brown, who I was told passed away, which is super sad. Love you in heaven, Rita, God. But me and Kristen and Holly are the Pope Jane that went forward. And we are having a free reunion concert. So no ticket fees, no cover charge. Just show the hell up and party with me. And my band, Danielle Egnew and the Moonshine Preachers, is going to open. And then we're going to move into my band, Into the Plow, which is me and Holly and Skip Johnson and Peter Michelotti. And then we are going to have the headlining Pope Jane set, guys. So for those Pope Jane fans out there, and I am sometimes surprised by how many of you there still are, which you guys honor the crap right out of me and Holly and Kristen. Kristen was able to finally get some time off of her job. She has kind of an important big job to come out here and be a rock star again. So if you can get yourself to Billings, Montana on March 2nd, it's Saturday, or Friday is March 1st, and get your butt out to the Roadside Events Center, I'll buy you a shot. On me, man. Because my goal is to celebrate making it to 55 and, God, not killing myself doing something stupid. You God, I don't know about you guys, but it's not like I've lived this lily white existence, like I tell you guys all the time before I got into this very interesting position. I guess it was a choice, but it was kind of a weird choice 20 years ago. It just kind of happened that I ended up translating all these timelines and angels and histories and all these things. My job was quite literally rock star. I was signed. We were a touring band. We were all that in a bag of chips back in the day. Well, at least we thought we were all that in a bag of chips, you guys. God, youth, whatever. It's fun. We got to play with some great people. We played with Joan Jett. We played with Anna Nancy Wilson of Heart. We played with Loverboy. Kenny Chesney actually opened up for us in the mid-90s. I don't think he was super happy about that, but it happened. So there was that. But guys, I'm not kidding. If you are here March 2nd, I'll buy you a shot. Or if you don't drink, I'll buy you a soda or whatever you're doing. So come on out here and celebrate. Why? Because I am recreating, in the year of recreation and growth, I am recreating an environment where we just get to love on one another. We just get to love on one another and be and enjoy and just wrap our arms around each other and have some fun. I had a friend of mine who kind of thought I was out of my mind. She was like, Are you shitting me that there is a Pope Jane reunion concert and you're not selling tickets, you're just letting people show up? I said, yeah, it's my party. If I don't want to charge people, I don't have to charge people. I just want people to come. And the venue is co-sponsoring it. They're kicking us a little bit of money to do our thing. But you guys, it's about recreating the environment you would like to be in. And you all really ought to show up because I got some guitars. I got a brand new guitar. I got a brand new, oh my God. I hope to have a brand new. I haven't gotten it yet. But I want to get a guitar cabinet and all these things and just have some fun. So that is recreation. I'm recreating an environment for Pope Jane to play. I'm not just sitting here going, oh, I was a rock star one time, and one time I did this and one time and that, and someday I'm going to play, and then never making those efforts toward creating that outcome. And you can think of recreation like re-efforting. Re-effort. Remount the effort. Remount the effort. Remount the effort. And like I said, even if you're making little bits of headway every single time, it's better than not making any headway at all, because that can get tough and rough and all kinds of things. So I hope that it's been reasonably clear that we really don't have a lot to worry about this year. Use February's energy for creation. And for those of you that are fans of Donald Trump, you are going to love how much press he gets through February. He's just going to be dominating the news cycle all over again, even though those news outlets said, no, we're never going to give him all this press. That's how we won in the first place. They lie. So you're going to be seeing him all over the place and him making his VP things and blah. Meanwhile, on the Democratic side are giant crickets and Biden's just hanging out. So we're going to be getting crazy weather. We're going to be getting weird tech announcements. Use February to really retread some of what you've been trying to bring into the world and get it out there. And you guys, I'm just going to mention it one more time. If you want to expand some of your own gifts and talents that you've been wanting to expand for a long time, but you just haven't, that are energetic, spiritual, maybe some of you need some help with, body issues, mindset, nutrition, maybe just a little bit of help with how your cells are reacting energetically to your life, to your emotions, to certain foods. Maybe you've got a whole bunch of crystals in your back room and you would love to know how to use those to focus your energy to heal you more. Maybe you're somebody who, when you're giving your partner a back rub or whatnot, your hands just get super hot because of all that big energy coming through. And you would like to know what kind of energy you can work with through your hands, but you're not sure if it's Reiki or healing touch or acupressure or acupuncture or what it is. So you'd love a class on basics of energy. How does it work? And how can you apply that energy to your own life to heal you? Maybe you want to come out and learn to use your empathic gift. I would love to show you guys. I would love to show you how to turn that empathic gift into the strongest superpower you have ever had in your life and not have it be something that cripples you up or makes you feel lesser than or like you can't quite get to the other side of things. So check out Rocky Mountain Academy of Energetic Arts, you guys, rmaea.com. Check out the courses and instructors. I'm so proud of all of the instructors. And again, you guys, to check out the actual class definitions, you just hit the enroll button and it'll take you to the class description. And again, one more time, March 2nd, Be Here, Be Square in Montana, the Roadside Event Center, to see Pope Jane, Into the Plow, and Danielle Egnew and the Moonshine Preachers for free, just to party with me and have some fun on my 55th birthday weekend. So you guys, that's kind of it. We're sitting here at the end of January and I've just got the January doldrums with the weather. But the weather's been weird. It's been unseasonably warm here in Montana. It's been in the 60s. It's been crazy. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of precipitation or snow or something before we hit summer and everything burns up. And some of the big headlines today are crack up. It's January 26th. So some of the big headlines are really the Houthis. Is that how you say that? Houthis that attacked that U.S. warship of the pirates that are really just nailing that Suez Canal issue. And they're out there just, man, these guys are taking over they're pirates. They're going out there and they are hijacking huge cargo ships that are trying to get through. And recently they attacked a U.S. warship. And even China, you guys, China is urging Iran, which is who these Houthis people are related through. China's urging Iran to rein in their rebels. They're like, look, you guys, you got to get this pirate thing under control. And of course, later, wait till we, of course, are going to have to step up and be a little authoritative with all this. But people are so, you guys, economically, globally, people are suffering. And you got these Houthis that are going out there and taking over big cargo ships with those huge shipping containers and taking them and stealing everything on there. And a lot of times they're trying to take guns and weapons and, things they need because this is a terrorist group running out of Iran. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, you guys, Russia's behind the whole thing. Russia is an ally with Iran. They back Iran, and Russia wants us out of Ukraine because Russia's losing over in Ukraine and they're running out of money. And old Vlad Putin's on he's sucking his last bag of chemicals trying to stay alive over there. He's got some kind of a cancer, I'm pretty sure. So he's trying to stay in the game, but he needs the United States' attention to be drawn to Iran. So we quit going forward with Ukraine. We're going to keep going with Ukraine, but it's phenomenal to me how all of these pieces of the puzzle are flexing right now because the old world authoritarian patriarchal masculine just has nothing to hang on to. Even China, communist China, is telling Iran, hey, you guys, you need to get a hold of the Houthis because this is going to get old west and the United States is probably going to lose their shit all over you. You don't want that. Even China. And plus, China is an exporter to the United States for all of this stuff in those cargo containers that are 5 stories tall on these huge shipping vessels. So China's pretty hacked about that. We're going to see some tips and twists and little wiggles as we go forward. And they think they found Amelia Earhart's airplane, which is just super cool, on the bottom of the ocean. And they now have the satellite imaging that can find that. So I personally think that is super neat. But it literally, I mean, her airplane vanished in 1937, right? So that's fascinating. I mean, there's going to be some cool news to follow coming forward. But it's, January 26th, and we're at the very end of the month, and we're just gearing up for some serious crazy that's coming in and some serious excitement. And honestly, I think that's going to be, it's going to be a good thing, even though we've got some world events that are not so good. So try not to focus on what's happening overseas. I'm not saying be in denial. That's not good. But there's going to be minor things that are kind of major that the United States is going to go play police over. But in the meantime, guys, we're kind of staying focused. And the thing about the feminine time frame is it cannot be distracted by low-grade attempts at piracy or political coups or whatever. Those authoritarian low-grade attempts don't go very far. I mean, honestly, in this feminine time frame. So we'll hear about it. And it's likely the United States military is going to be getting involved in all kinds of stuff all over the world here. Just a little minor putting fires out here and there. But when this happens, guys, understand that it is part of the feminine time frame flexing. Because they're like fizzled firecrackers that are going off all over the world. And when China tells Iran to get it together, I mean, China and the former Soviet Union and Russia, they wish it was the Soviet Union. China and Russia are buds, and Russia backs Iran. So when China's telling Iran, get your radicals together and quit interrupting with our shipping process, I'm sure China probably told that same thing to Putin. And I'm sure the phone at the Kremlin just rang and rang and rang and rang as they were doing vodka shots and laughing about the rest of the world. So anyway, guys, recreate, retread, recreation, reinventing. Really work on that through February. And yay, I can't wait for the February podcast because it's my birth month. I love it. 55. I can kick. I can stretch. Okay, you guys. I love you. I will see you next podcast.